Hey everyone, welcome to another live Foreplay Fireside. I'm here with Tim Chanut. We're going to talk about how everything social commerce and how it's rewriting the rules of retail. To give you a little background on Tim, he's worked with over 400 brands from Duolingo to Gymshark and even Shopify. And his own account on TikTok has over 3 million followers. So if there's anyone that really knows their stuff when it comes to growing on social, it's Tim. So let's get into it. Take it away, Tim.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the intro. I'm going to share my screen. I have a short presentation I was fortunate to give to Santander in London just about last week. And it'll take me probably about 20 minutes to go through this. I'd love to then do some Q&A and answer specific questions so that we make this as relevant as possible for everybody in the audience. Sounds fair enough?
Yeah, that sounds good, man.
Okay, let me see if I can just see the chat simultaneously. All right, perfect. This is my first time on Riverside, but it seems to be working pretty well. All right, let's get started. So here is a question. Would you trust a teenager in their bedroom over a multi-million-dollar agency? Because your customers already do. Now, as someone who's been at the forefront of social selling, both as a content creator and working with a ton of brands, I've seen how social selling is rewriting the rules of retail so fast that brands ignoring it will be sailing into oblivion. I've done this on a content creator perspective, having grown over 3 million followers and making thousands of videos on TikTok. But I'm also the owner of Young With Solutions, as Jack mentioned. We're the team behind Gymshark, some companies you might recognize like Olaplex, Converse, Amazon, Duolingo, Shopify, and many more who we have helped to get on TikTok and transition towards this social selling shift. Now, Evil Goods, I'm going to name a few examples of companies doing really well here. Evil Goods is a company that was started just a year ago, and they are currently outpacing industry giants like Johnson & Johnson in online skincare. And all they do is social commerce on TikTok Shop. In Q4, they made $28 million with social commerce. Roost Research is a company that was bootstrapped by some scrappy 27-year-old entrepreneur just about a year ago as well. And they're now making $15 million per month. Bootstrapped. Gymshark, one of the companies we've had the great privilege to work with, has been nominated as the fastest growing company in the UK based on the creator-led campaign and social commerce. So all of this is not luck, it's not hype. This is the biggest retail shift since e-commerce itself. Now the question is, why is this happening now and how can we capitalize on it? So in this presentation, I'm going to attempt to touch on 3 key points and then we'll do Q&A. The first one is an overview of how retail is evolving. Then we'll look at the economics that is driving this change and why social selling is so appealing for both existing players in the market as well as new entrants. And the last element is the playbook that we've seen do wonders for e-com brands to start social selling with. I'm not able to see everybody here, but my question to the audience in London was if you have by a raise of hand, who doesn't know what social selling is? And it was basically just a quick walkthrough of the feature of tagging a product and for users to be able to go from watching a video to directly being able to purchase on the app. Okay, so I see a comment that we don't know this term. Social selling is, like I said, the ability for users to watch a video and directly purchase from the app without ever leaving TikTok, right? So if you see my mouse, on TikTok Shop, there's a little button here where the creator would talk about the product, they click on it, they can add to cart and place the order. And this is creating a massive shift in how consumers are interacting with social media and getting products to them. So let's start by understanding how products have traditionally reached consumers, because for decades, the path looked like this. We had a brand going to a retailer, which then led to the consumer. And this model created massive gatekeepers who ultimately controlled which brand succeeded and which one failed. The barrier to entry is enormous. You need capital to produce inventory, connections with buyers. You often have to sacrifice 40 to 60% of your margins to these retailers, and getting on the shelf might take you 12 to 18 months. With the rise of e-commerce, particularly Amazon, it seemed to have democratized this process. But ultimately, what happened is that Amazon became the new gatekeeper. Today, you still need a ton of inventory. You need the right connections to have favorable deals and to rank on the platform. And as one of the entrepreneurs that we've interviewed on our podcast said, what used to get him, when he used to spend $5,000 in 2014, he would get $25K back. Today, you're lucky if you get $7,500 back from the same investment. So the platform is more saturated, it's more competitive, and Amazon has ultimately become the new gatekeeper. So now let's look at what is happening with social selling. The path has fundamentally changed and now look like this. We have brands that reach out to creators that each then have their direct path to the end consumer. And this model has a few revolutionary characteristics, because brands now work with dozens, if not hundreds, of content creators directly who each have their own path to the consumer, like I said, and it's the algorithm who decides what succeeds based on the engagement, not boardroom decisions like you would with traditional retail. And like mentioned, the sales happen directly from the content with one click. So if we look at Roost research, traditionally they would have had to spend month and month in developing samples, reaching out to different retailers, so on and so forth. But instead, what they did is just identified a trendy category, which we'll come back to in greater depth later. In this case, it was longevity supplement. They developed an ideal product for social selling, which again we'll come back to. And from then, they reached out to hundreds of health-related content creators, sent them samples, as well as 25% commission on any sale that they make selling this product. These content creators are now incentivized to make videos about Roost research, and they make money by doing so. Effectively, what this has done for Roost research is built them a massive content creator army. And the results is that, again, it's $15 million this month with margins that would be impossible with traditional retail. So this evolution disrupts traditional retail gatekeepers in three fundamental ways. There's the speed to market. So in the old model, it might take you 18 to 24 months to build a meaningful distribution channel. Today, however, a brand can go from a concept to millions in revenue in under 90 days. Capital efficiency. So traditional retail required a massive upfront investment in inventory and trade marketing. Today's model allows for brands to start lean and scale with revenue. And the third, most important, and my favorite point by far, is merit-based visibility. So traditionally, shelf space went to the brands who had the deepest pocket. However, in the creator economy, visibility goes to the products that genuinely resonates with consumers. All right, now let's look at the economics driving this change. So we're going to follow the money from a brand that we work with. What we did with them is run a case study on how the unit economics differs from platform to platform. So they are selling this self-tanning lotion, and they sell it through Amazon, through Meta, TikTok, and Tesco. Our case study tracked how the money flew. So from traditional retail, this is Tesco, Amazon and Meta, which we'll call traditional digital, and then social commerce. The retail price remained consistent across all of these distribution channels. However, the platform cut was significant with traditional retail, 50%. Amazon takes 50% processing fees, and social commerce, TikTok Shop specifically, takes 8%. Marketing costs are negligible with traditional retail, as this is effectively the fee you're paying for. On Meta, they spend $10 per acquisition, which is effectively a third of their average order value, which is pretty good by e-com standards. And with social commerce, their marketing cost is giving 20% to the creator as a commission for the sale. Cost of goods remain the same. Fulfillment costs are a little bit higher when you do e-commerce. But at the end of the day, when you look at the gross profit or profit margin, social commerce has twice more margin than traditional retail and 50% more than traditional digital. So this table only shows you half of the picture, because we also need to consider upfront investments associated with getting launched. With traditional retail, it requires a huge investment for inventory. Your time to getting your first sale might be 12 to 18 months, and breaking even, you're talking 18 to 24 months. Traditional digital, so Amazon and Meta, you need to front the ads, which is expensive. $15,000 is actually quite conservative. Your time to the first sale is quite quick, so 7 to 30 days, and you break even 2 to 6 months down the line. With social commerce, however, your initial investment is negligible because you're not paying for any of the marketing upfront. You only pay once your creators have generated you sales. So your time to your first sale can be almost immediate because the creators can start making content tomorrow, and you break even pretty much from day one. I'm flying through this, by the way. If you want to stop me, Jack, to elaborate on anything in specific, let me know.
For sure. I got an interesting thought, I guess, on the 2 slides back. I think one of the interesting things about paying commission to creators as well is that the volume is the variable, right? If they sell more, they make more commission, but your efficiency isn't variable, right? We've got here an average of $10 on Meta. But what happens if there's an outage? What happens if there's a change, right? Your efficiency could swing drastically. And if you have, I don't know, a budget of 10, 15, 20, 100K a day, right, you can burn a lot of money very quickly. You don't do that when you have commission, right? Your efficiency is stable. It's just the volume that's the variable, right?
Exactly. Yeah, in one case, you have to front the investment. In the other one, you pay after the money is already in your bank account.
Right.
Which is actually one of the main things I wanted to touch on here. It's like, why does this matter? And for e-com leaders in the US, the UK, this economic shift creates 3 critical advantages. And capital efficiency is exactly what we were discussing. Now you can basically launch with 70 to 80% less upfront investment, allowing you to test more products and different markets simultaneously. This is also true pay-per-performance. So you only pay for marketing that actually drives sales, which drastically reduces your risk. And the last element is speed to market. So you can validate products in weeks rather than months and reach profitability in a fraction of the time. The brands that understand and embrace these economics are the ones winning in today's market. It's no longer about how much money you have and how deep your pockets are. It's about how efficiently you are able to deploy that capital. Let's go through the social commerce playbook. So now that we understand the economics driving this shift, let's examine how do we go about this effectively. So I want to touch about content strategy, which is the most important part. Then we'll look at the implementation framework and operation readiness. So the content strategy. is, so let's look at the architecture that drives sales. Content that works on TikTok is unpolished. You don't want to do a Hollywood production. You want to remain raw and authentic. This is just what works. And I'll show you an example in a minute. You want to have a pattern interruption and lead with moments, not pitches. Don't talk about your product, rather talk about an emotion that you might be going through using the product. You want to spark curiosity, so give a reason for people to keep watching until the end of the video. And you want your video to feel like a personal recommendation, not an ad. So I'll play a video example here. I hope this sound will come through. But let me actually first break down some of the stats behind this video. So this is a TikTok video from an affiliate creator who was not paid to make the video. They just earn a commission out of the money that she generates. And her video got 5 million views. It was posted in mid-February. Got 5 million views. She sold 2,000 units, generated $50,000 in sales, and most importantly, 0 ad spend on all of this. So it didn't cost the brand anything to make this 50K in revenue. It's all organic. Now let's look at the video and we can break it down together. Keep in mind the points I just mentioned. So, raw, authentic, personal touch, or feels like a personal recommendation and such. Jack, will you let me know if the sound is coming through?
For sure.
Is
We
it?
don't have audio, unfortunately. No, it's not coming through.
Do you know how to do that on?
Are you tab sharing? I think that let's try pressing play again and see what happens.
You have to share the tab in order for...
Yeah, it doesn't look like the audio is coming through. But maybe I'll drop a link in the chat if anyone wants to watch it.
Not the whole screen. I'm not sharing the whole screen. I'm just sharing a tab. Here, let me just stop sharing for a second. I know that on Zoom, also share the tab audio. Oh, there we go.
Lisa's coming in clutch. She said headphones is a problem. Also could be.
Okay. Okay, just let me know now. Maybe it works.
What the fuck do you mean Salma Hayek is 50?
We good?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, let's go.
What the fuck do you mean Salma Hayek is 58 years old? This was her a month ago, and she's looking fine. Listen to what she said in this.
So that's your hook, right? There's no mention of a product here. Pattern interruption is the hook here.
Clip.
And I have no Botox, no fillers. I have to confess because the girls,
I notice how the production quality here is her filming her MacBook, like in her bedroom. It's no fancy camera, no fancy lighting. Right. It's just a YouTube video that she's playing, right?
To pull my hair, you see this?
She was trying to keep it a secret, but I found this clip of her finally revealing her Mexican beauty secrets to look beautiful and youthful.
So now she's sparking curiosity, right? Like, what's the secret?
What am I doing? You want to know?
Yes, what are you doing?
I do a lot of different things. None of the things everybody does.
Tell me.
One thing I do that I embrace fat, the good fats. This is very important. That is used in the Mexican hospitals for burn victims, so it regenerates the skin. People are afraid of fat, and fat is your friend.
Well, if you say so.
The right
fat it is.
The right fat can keep you young for a long time.
She knows that the visible signs of aging happens after the age of 25 because of the loss of collagen. And fat is literally the reason why she has such beautiful, tight skin. I was skeptical, but I did my own research, and I found out that these celebrities have all been using something called beef tallow, which is beef fat. And
So here she's doing some evidence and social proof on the beef fat, and notice that we're a minute in the video, there's still 0 mention of any product. You think you're just watching like an educational piece of content here.
Tallow is actually with vitamins and nutrients that our skin craves. Some people have been saying, oh, you're Asian, you have good genes, you have good genetics. They don't understand that this is what my skin looked like 3 months ago when I was using only products that my dermatologist recommended to me. And ever since I switched to just beef tallow and water, my skin has never looked this clear. I was able to find a business that uses organic grass-fed.
And there we go. 1:30 in the video. 1 minute and 30 second in the video. And finally, we have the product reveal. And again, like this feels like a personal recommendation. She's not like trying to sell you hard on it. Oh, she is, but her angle is really smart.
Like grass-finished beef tallow, manuka honey, pomegranate flower extract, and vitamin E. These ingredients are literally filled with antioxidants to help heal and hydrate your skin barrier. Just be careful. There are a ton of brands out there pretending to be this brand, Evil Goods, because they're the only company that uses natural and high-quality ingredients. Only bad thing is they've just been selling out like crazy ever since those clips came out, but I'm going to leave the link somewhere down here anyway. If you see that little orange button, that means that they just came back in stock, and I would run and grab some.
All right, and that's your masterclass.
Yeah, I mean, man, she's a great marketer, hey?
Yeah, very different than your traditional meta ad, right?
Yeah.
Here, let me share the right tab again. Okay, are we back on the presentation?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. So yeah, 5 million views, $50,000 in sales, all organic. So the margins, are insane. Okay, so now that we've seen kind of like the gold standard for what TikTok videos look like, let's look at how do we actually go about doing this, because it's quite different than what traditional digital marketing usually looks like. First is important to understand that every product is not made equal to succeed on social selling. It's a platform where you're going to have to give a significant portion of your sales to the creator, and you want to make it as lucrative as possible for them. It's generally between 20 to 30% commission, which in reality is what you would spend regardless on paid media. But so it's really important that you have a product that has inherently high margins. We recommend like 70+%. You want to have visual appeal, so a product that has a wow factor just visually, because this is going to be sold through videos. So yeah, visual appeal is important. Emotional resonance, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Storytelling potential, just like the video that we saw together. And repeat purchase. The best businesses right now are the best businesses on TikTok Shop are the ones who have MRR into play, because they can, give more margins to the creators up front. Creators make more money, so they talk more about them, and the brands are happy because they know they'll make their money. Their end of the profits will come through the second purchase, third, fourth, etc. Now, creator strategy, which is like by far the most important part. When you think through creators, you want to do volume over precision. And so what I mean by that is actually, have we heard the term the TikTokification of social media before?
No, I haven't heard it.
So the TikTokification of social media is how effectively now our social media platforms are based on interest, no longer who you're following. So if you open Instagram today, if you open TikTok or YouTube, you won't arrive. The homepage is no longer who you follow. It's just based on your scrolling patterns, and the algorithm gets to understand what you're interested in, because it keeps you hooked to the platform, right? And what this has done is that effectively, it no longer matters how many followers you have. If you want to get in front of your audience, it's just a matter of making content that resonates with that particular customer. Meaning that big influencers don't hold nearly as much power as 10 smaller ones that can make hyper-personalized messages to the right audience. And this is not to my advantage, because I'm an influencer myself, but you will see better results with 100 smaller influencers that might have all 5,000 followers each, rather than one big one that might have 3 million followers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So you want to partner with many content creators, not just one perfect one. Performance-based compensation, so you want to give them 10 to 25% of sales, and that is generally on top of an incentive roadmap structure. Have you guys seen the Goalie Nutrition incentive roadmap?
No.
I think that it's fascinating. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I will share my screen again here, because the name of the game is how much money can you make, how much money can creators make talking about you, and the more the merrier. What Goalie Nutrition has done is this. Here, let me pull up the full image. So Goalie, it's a supplement. They give to their creators 25% commission on all sales. But on top of that, to keep the creators hooked, and think of it as the carrot and the stick, right? They want people to keep on talking. But every time you talk about that, you accumulate sales towards cash prizes or certain prizes. So if a creator generates $1,500 in GMV, which is a synonym for revenue, they get an iPad. If they generate $4,000 in GMV, they get an iPhone. 15K, they get a trip to the Bahamas. And the list keeps going until 1.2 million, where they literally get a condo in Miami. And so
Nice.
what I love about this is that, the more creator talks about Goalie, the more they're going to make. It's not just about the percentage anymore. It's like they're actually walking towards a condo in Miami. And actually, Goalie Nutrition is the biggest shop on TikTok right now. I think it's something like $34 million a month. Now, I'm not saying also that you should be doing this, because you probably are not going to have the same margins as Goalie. But it's the principle that I'm trying to walk through is you want to make it as lucrative as possible for your creators to keep talking about you and not churn. All right. Performance-based compensation, like I said. And last but not least, you want to enable, not control. So when you work with these creators, you want to give creative guidance and briefings, but allow your creators to put their own twist and make content that feels true to them and that will resonate with whoever they talk to. The video that I just showed you, I can guarantee you the brand didn't ask her to, pull up that YouTube video and do that. That's just like what she came up with, and like that creativity led to the 50K in sales organically.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that a lot of these creators, yourself included, you've proven that you know how to make that content, right? So why would we put boundaries and try and control the content when, there's a proven recipe there. There's something that works, right? And we can let that work for us too, right?
Yep. And it's great to show best practices, videos that have gone viral in the past, because it can help them get a feel as to what type of angles resonate. But yeah, you enable them, you don't control. Cool. Let's talk about operational readiness. So because you're going to be dealing with hundreds of creators, first off, the advantage of TikTok Shop and social commerce is that it comes with built-in tools that help you make this a reality. One really cool thing is automatic attribution. Because the users never leave the app, you have a one-to-one attribution. Most of you, as I understand, this is an e-com audience, will have attribution problems on Meta and more because they're taken to a separate site. On TikTok Shop, it's one-to-one. So you know exactly what drives sales, which video, how much, when in the video, etc., etc. Also, the commission management is done automatically. So paying out these creators is done by TikTok. You don't have to worry about it. Performance analysis, because you have all of the data, you can easily see exactly what triggered the sale, what portion of the video, etc., etc. And actually, you can also see that data for all of your other competitors. So if you want to see what creatives led to sales for your competitors, TikTok Shop gives you that natively. Seamless checkout, like I said, people will be able to purchase directly on the app. So, and we actually have found that the average bounce rate across the funnel is 50% less than on a Shopify website, just because they don't have to like load new pages and such, like because it's in app, it's instant pages, it loads automatically. Yeah, the bounce off rate is 50% ads less. So you're effectively getting twice more conversions. Now let's look at operational requirements. This is a labor-intensive venture because you're obviously dealing with hundreds of creators, which can seem overwhelming, but really all you need to get good at is onboarding creators, sending samples, teaching them the basics of the benefits of your product and such, and having a support team so that these creators, have their questions answered whenever needed. What we have found best is to just create like a Discord or Slack or WhatsApp community, put all of your affiliates in there, and then you have 1 or 2 moderators that are constantly incentivizing your creators to make videos, answering their questions, etc., etc. Inventory agility. So one of the important piece of social commerce is that you'll see huge spikes of demand whenever something goes viral. You need to be able to fulfill on that demand. And so a lot of brands go out of stock. So it is precautious to be ready to manage viral demand and being able to reorder more products and just fill up your inventory. Have a buffer stock prepared and such, and also have contingency plans if you do get out of stock. Content amplification. So whenever something goes viral organically, you can really amplify the return on investment by running ads on top of these videos. So Spark Ads is tremendous. Spark Ads is basically the video that I showed you earlier. The brand is able to request usage rights on that video and run some ads on top of it. This is great, makes a lot of money. We often see double-digit ROAS through just that. And the final component is cross-channel integration. So what we end up seeing is that while people discover us on TikTok, there is about 30% of the total traffic that will end up purchasing on Amazon or retail because they might trust these platforms more. And so you don't want to neglect the your Amazon presence nor what it could create for retail. It's very much like a blended approach, and by capitalizing on social commerce, you're effectively lifting up all of your other marketing ventures. Cool. So takeaways, just to end on. The economics of social selling is creating an unprecedented opportunity for brands to enter the US and Canadian market. Matter of fact, TikTok Shop just launched in France, Italy, Spain, and Germany recently. So Europe is coming into play. Because TikTok Shop US has been there for just about 2 years. In Europe, it was in February that it all launched. So I think there's a big opportunity in just taking what's working in the US, bringing that to Europe. As a European myself, I can tell you that a lot of our successful businesses in Europe now are just copycats of what Americans figured out. So yeah, I might be doing that myself, frankly, but I think there's something there for sure. Just because like the Europeans haven't, they're starting from zero in terms of knowledge base and trial and error about TikTok Shop. Like they haven't done it nearly as long as the Americans. However, this window of opportunity won't last forever. And so the time to act is now while the conditions are still favorable. This is a blue ocean. Last but not least, success requires a fundamental shift in how we approach product selection, creator relationships, and ops. Oops, supposed to be some text here saying, we're ready for you. And yeah, we can hop into Q&A. Et voilà.
Awesome. Well, I liked the rubber duck. I had a really interesting question from Ivan here.
Yep.
Let's take a look. There's a lot of messages here. Let's see. So he said, so because there's a big volume of creators, you choose the best performing, but how to find creators that can resonate with the product, speaking as an agency?
So you can see who they have spoken with in the past. Sold products of in the past. Like you can see a library of who they promoted, and if you find that this guy does particularly well with health supplements, then that's a great lead indicator.
Awesome. And we've got another one from Mina here. Do companies need to pay any upfront investment fee to start collabing with TikTok creators in the way you described earlier? So we're talking about commission a little bit earlier, but are there some creators, especially specifically on TikTok, that require an upfront investment, right? They have a fixed fee for their time.
At times, yes, but that is generally secondary. Another way to avoid a creator that's making you a lot of money, instead of letting them churn and talk about a competitor, some brands give them a retainer. So they'll give them $1,500 a month so that they don't speak about competitors and only talk about them. But upfront, you don't generally need it, except if you do live streams. TikTok live streams are great. You end up paying a rate per hour, which ranges between $20 to $50 on top of a commission.
Yeah. These questions are all over the place. I'm not sure if you can see them in the chat, but I've got another one from Eric here that says, someone help me understand why this is not a copyright violation, using Selma's image to sell a product.
Yeah. So this is not the brand doing these videos. These are individuals. So there's a question of whether or not there are copyright issues, but the brand is not saying, if there was a responsibility, it would not fall under the brand. It would fall under the individual because it's posted on their account. The brand has nothing to do with it.
You mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if this was a question from somebody in the chat, but you mentioned earlier that this is very labor intensive. There's a couple of questions, people asking how to get started. How do I reach out to these influencers? Just how labor intensive is it? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so you want to have people that set up your shop. You want to have people that reach out to creators, send them samples, and you want to have then moderators, media buyers, and generally you have a creative director that oversees the entire section. This is something that we offer as an agency if anyone is interested, but most importantly, actually, when it comes to finding creators, where I think this can be really valuable for the people watching here is that I have a community of thousands of existing talents who are eager, who have proven to make money and are eager for opportunities. So if you guys would like to be connected with that talent pool, it's 5,000 people, mostly in the US, that again are trained about making great content. They have historically sold a lot on TikTok Shop, and yeah, they want to work. They're hungry. So if you guys are keen for that, I don't know, Jack, how we do this, but I can drop an email and we can take it.
Yeah, I think that'd be perfect. Yeah, let's drop your email in the chat. I've got your email, so I can drop it in there in a second. We've got another question here on luxury goods. What if you have a very expensive product and it's going to cost you quite a lot to start sending that to creators? You're working with lots of creators. You don't want to send this very expensive product. I don't know. What would be a luxury good that would be expensive? Cold plunges, engagement rings, right?
Engagement rings. I love those around. I actually just finished a case study with we just today, matter of fact, completed a case study for 77 diamonds. It's engagement rings. They go for 4 or 5K a pop, and we asked for the creator, we would send them an agreement that they would return the product once it's over. And we also asked them to process a deposit with us, like a security deposit. So that's how we got around it. But it's a limiting belief that you can't sell high ticket on TikTok. Matter of fact, there's this one creator that exclusively sells Birkin bags on TikTok Shop. Birkin bags range from like 50 to 80 grand each. And she goes on live streams. She reviews it. She wears different outfits, etc. And she's balling. So
Nice.
and we
Good
did
on her.
like similar strategy with engagement rings. So.
Awesome. We've got a question here from Laura. What cut does TikTok take on their platform, on sales through their platform? I think it's 8%. It's 8%.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mina says that copyright loophole is wild. Oh, well, yeah, it's pretty wild. But I guess the brand is technically not infringing, right? It's creators that are creating the content, and that might not even be infringing, right? I think I saw something somewhere that you can use public personalities in content online, so that might be the loophole here as well. All right, we've got one from Gerrig here. How this model could work for dropshippers?
Well, frankly, TikTok Shop is mostly made of dropshippers right now. It's like the new wave of e-com. Because, I mean,
I can't see taking inventory as a requirement to participate in TikTok shops, right? Like whether the inventory touches your hands or it goes directly to the customer, I don't think that that's a barrier to entry. I mean, that's another example of not having a barrier to entry, right? You don't have to take an MOQ, you don't have to take inventory and manage it. So I think this model maps on for dropshippers perfectly, Gerrig.
Yeah. If you search TikTok Shop on YouTube, like you'll see it's all dropshippers that are talking about it the most.
Oh yeah.
Because again, like CPMs are, I mean, you're effectively getting, your CPA is a fraction of what it would be on the traditional retail platforms. So yeah, all the dropshippers are rushing on this. I mean, are hopping on this gold rush.
Right. I mean, there's a marginal requirement, right, to find that efficiency somewhere else. And if you can find that efficiency in acquisition costs, you can make the business work, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We've got one from Sonia here. Also, what if you sell furniture, for example? How would you approach that? Do you send out products that have more chance of going viral, merchandising? What's your approach to merchandising, choosing the products?
Is that 2 questions?
I guess it is. You know, do you send out products that have more of a chance of going viral? And then furniture. Do you have any specific experience with furniture?
Myself not, but there's this website called Calodata. We can even do this exercise together if you'd like, as you can literally see who is selling furnitures and how much money they're making. Here.
Would you say that was called Hello Data?
Calodata. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we've got it. Hello Data. Huh.
So this website, you can search for categories. So let's type furniture, baby furniture, indoor furnitures. Here, let me do this differently. Okay, and this basically has built-in APIs with TikTok Shop, and you can see each category, so on and so forth. So we can see furniture as a category in the last 30 days generated $30 million in revenue. Now we can go more in depth. So $30 million revenue, there are 2,500 shops, live revenue is 8 million, video revenue is 15 million. And then we can see the top shops or the top products per category. So here we have a sofa for $600. Average unit price is $600. They sold $1 million this month, and we can even see the videos, how they're selling it. Can you hear it?
That is incredible. Can't hear it right now, but if anyone's interested, Kilo Data, if you want to check it out. This is awesome. I mean, this kind of comes back to what you were saying about, AOV and premium products on TikTok shops being a limiting belief. Someone's doing it. and they're doing it with, in this niche of furniture, $30 million, right? I mean, that's not one individual, that's the whole market. But, if somebody can do it, then why can't you, right?
Yeah. I mean, this individual shop is making $1 million a month, so it's not bad.
Sheesh. And then the second question was, do you send out products to creators that have more chance of going viral? And I guess I have a follow-up question on that one, which would be, if you do, how are you deciding, right, what to merchandise, right, what to choose to send out to creators?
Yeah, let's say you're a brand and you have 10 different SKUs. I would recommend that you let the creators pick that top 2/3. And the name of the game is volume. So you don't want to overthink exactly what is your likelihood of going viral and exactly which product combination. It's more so spray and pray. So let's give out 3 SKUs to 300 creators. 10 of them will go viral and we'll make our money back that way. Also, once you have some creators that start to go viral, then the next round of content will go more viral, because you can basically tell all your affiliates, hey, this concept did really well, make a version of your own. Like, this is why it did well. This is, the angle that works. Now just go and make a version of your own. And so your viral hit rate goes from like 5% to 25%. So yeah, the goal is volume, not precision.
I like that.
And I can actually, let me reshare my screen quickly here. As the brand I was just showing you. So this product, right? $1 million a month. You can see that there are, in the last 30 days, 280 creators have talked about this product. And yeah, that's the number of creators. But in total, almost 600 videos were made organically. And on top of that, they went live about 10 times a day. I mean, 10 times per day, someone made a live talking about them. So just to give a sense of like the scale at which we want to do things here.
Huh. That's crazy, hey? Yeah, some other things in terms of merchandising. I guess this kind of maps on to merchandising your products in other places. Some businesses are assortment driven, right? By providing a huge amount of supply to different market demands, they expose themselves to the opportunity to go viral more, right? If you hedge all of your bets on one business and one product, you only got one shot, right? You're putting all your chips on black. But having a different assortment of products to provide supply to different market demands might be your strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got another question from Kyle here. You're using TikTok Creator Studio to find creators or something else? I guess this is tooling. How do we actually source TikTok creators?
So if the question is asked to me personally, like I said, I have like an existing pool because we have an info product teaching people how to make content creation. We have about 5,000 students, and that's like an asset that's quite valuable because we can deploy an army like on the go, really. But there are various ways to go about it. So if you're starting from scratch, one of the ways is going on an account like, okay, hey, this is one of my competitors. Let's see who's talking about them, because you can literally the exact creator. So I can see that Taylor in the last 30 days sold 100K worth of this product, which is about 200 items. And it was done through revenue, not live streams. Some people sell through live streams. Like, okay, let's go see Taylor. I can access his account and her email. So it's her TikTok account is here and her email is here. So let me copy that. Let's go to Gmail and say, hey, I know that you've been talking about this other brand. They're probably giving you 20%. How about I give you 25% and you talk about me? Simple as that.
I like that. It's fun.
And you can again see, like from here, you can see, which brands she talked about, how much revenue she's generated, and you can go super granular on each of these things.
This is not so much of a question, but Mina is saying, I'm surprised at how late the product intro comes in those TikTok ads, the content. The example you showed on Selma, it came in around the 1 minute 30 mark, but there is a sweet spot is there a sweet spot from your experience? So that is a question, right? Is there a sweet spot when the product comes into the video?
I've actually learned that everything that I thought to be true, I mean, as a content creator myself, I grew my account by having, videos that were like 32 seconds long. Like that was my sweet spot. I knew that was the formula that made TikTok work. And in the recent years, it's really like, I think there's not like a one size fits all sort of strategy. And, this creator was able to make a really entertaining story around it all. And so for her, it made sense to make a 2 minute long video. Do I think that generally speaking, a 2 minute video retains the audience for that long? No, people have pretty short attention span, but it depends on your story. I don't think there's sweet spots anymore. You just want to let creators come up with their own angles, and over time, you do tend to see
Right.
For your brand or for your product what angles work best, and then it's a matter of rinse and repeat.
Awesome. All right, we don't have any other questions here. Let's leave your email in the chat in case anyone wants to reach out. If anyone has any more questions that you want to slip in, now is the time. We're about to run out of time with Tim here. Let's see. Here is his email. If you want to reach out to the team at Youngwood Solutions, you've got a direct line.
Thank you, Jack.
All right. Mina has said, thank you so much. Garrick has said, great background, Jack. Appreciate it. Calo Data is my jam from Kyle. Thank you so much, everyone. That was a great chat. And thank you, Tim. That was a really interesting conversation.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the opportunity, and everyone that I know, raves about Foreplay. So, it was such a flex to saying to them that, hey, I'm going to speak with them today and be featured. That was the highlight of my day. So, thanks for the opportunity, and yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Talk soon. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.